Hi everyone, Charlene Ortiz here. Today I wanted to discuss a topic that I've been wanting to do a video on for a long time, and that is why I left the fitness industry and I will never return, most likely. Any of you that have been watching my channel for any amount of time, you know that I've been a personal trainer for 20 years. Actually, more than that now. I keep saying 20 years and forgetting that time has gone by. Actually, 22 years I've been a personal trainer. And I've worked in pretty much any environment that you can think of. I've worked in physical therapy offices, I've taught boot camps before, I've done circuit training classes, I've done group X classes, I've taught stretching, even a yoga class one time, even though I'm not skilled or an expert in yoga. It was kind of an emergency situation. Also, I've worked in bodybuilding gyms, I've worked in all women gyms, I've pretty much worked in any area of fitness you can think of except for maybe CrossFit. Not that I really have a problem with CrossFit per se, but it would not be my preferred style of training myself or anybody else. But I guess, you know, there's a specific demographic for CrossFit. But either way, I can honestly say that I have a very diverse background in fitness and all the different environments that I've worked in. When I first started working as a personal trainer, I was very fortunate to work with an incredibly educated staff. This when I was living back in San Jose, and I was working for a gym named Club One, which to my understanding does not exist anymore. But either way, there was an amazing staff that I worked with. They were very educated. A lot of them had master's degrees in exercise physiology or kinesiology, or they were physical therapists, or, you know, whatever. It was just a really amazing experience for me. I'm very grateful and very blessed to have been able to have that guidance, especially very early on in my career. And one thing that I learned from several of the people that I work with, not just education-wise, but as far as having the right passion and the right motive for being a personal trainer. And at that time, you know, the motive was to help people. The desire to improve the quality of people's lives, and that's what drove us as personal trainers. Certainly where I worked, that was the main motivator, was wanting to help people be healthier and stronger and enjoy life to their full potential in a body that's strong and healthy and pain-free, you know, as much as possible. And so that was my early beginnings as a personal trainer, and I've carried that philosophy with me the whole 22 years that I've been working as a personal trainer. I have not worked in my industry in a club per se for I guess it's been 2 years now, but I certainly have no desire to go back to the fitness industry, at least at the capacity that I was working in. And I just want to share, I guess, the two main reasons or main experiences that motivated me to just get out of the industry and to not work for any commercial fitness companies ever again. When I was working in LA, I worked for an all-women gym, and I worked there for 6 years. When I first started working there, it was amazing. I loved it. I loved the clients I was working with. I worked with an amazing staff, and it really was a great experience for me. And I could say that I enjoyed that, working in that location, as much as I enjoyed working at the first gym I ever worked at. And I was so grateful to find this place because I hadn't felt that way in a long time. I hadn't found a gym that I really, really loved working for, and a staff that I loved working with. At least not that much, since I'd left Club One. Well, the management went through different I guess, employees or staff. There was a different staff that was getting hired and fired for CEO and vice president, regional managers, general managers, fitness managers. It was definitely kind of a revolving door. Well, the fitness manager that was initially there when I first started working at this gym, this all-women gym, was actually there for most of the time that I worked there. And then she left. She wasn't very good at what she did. And then they had several other managers just kind of come in that didn't do a good job either, except for one. There was one named Kyla that was absolutely amazing, but she left to work for 24 Hour Fitness because they offered her more money and a better deal, you know. So she was the only one that when she showed up, I felt very hopeful because number one, she was in shape. And number two, she was educated. And number three, she was a leader, very passionate about what she did, and very bold, you know, not afraid to have a high standard for her staff, and also wanted to inspire her staff to do a great job and to provide a great service. So she was the only one that was there very briefly that, you know, I felt might be able to make a difference at that facility. As I worked there for the first 5 years, I guess, I don't know, maybe 4.5 years, for the most part, you know, we were paid well. We got commission for every sale. We were, you know, pretty busy for the most part. There were trainers that, you know, came in and out, and that's typical pretty much of any gym. Especially a big, you know, corporate or commercial gym. It will be a revolving door for trainers, but there certainly was, I guess, a foundational group of trainers that stayed there. They'd been there for years, and they were there the whole time that I was there, and they were amazing trainers. Every single one of them were just absolutely amazing. Well, unfortunately, the club ended up getting sued by somebody who was claiming that they weren't getting breaks and just getting the appropriate, I guess, time off or paid for lunch, whatever it was that was required by the labor department. Because the thing is with personal training, it's really tricky because we don't work just like 9 to 5. We work per client, at least in most gyms. That's how it works. You work per client. And you might have 3 clients in a row and then a break and then not have a client, you know, for 2 or 3 hours and then another couple of hours of training. So there's really no lunch break. There's no 15-minute snack break. Like, it doesn't really exist in the industry. But either way, somebody found a reason to sue them, and they won, and they ended up paying several $1 million in losses, and every single employee actually got compensated for it, which was nice, you know, but it drastically hurt the company financially. So they decided to punish the staff for that, and they took away our commission. And they promised us that they were going to hire a salesperson that was going to sell all the training, so that way we wouldn't have to worry about sales goals or anything like that anymore. And that was kind of going to be, I guess, one upside to us losing our commission. Well, that never happened. They never hired anybody. And I think they knew in the beginning that was bullshit. They weren't planning on hiring anybody. But then after, I would say maybe a few months, they had changed the policies, basically saying that if we did not meet a certain goal in sales, we were going to get punished by reducing the amount of money we make per training session. So not only did they take away our commission, but they punished us for not making enough sales. And we already, in most gyms, personal trainers already on average only make 40% of what the training session costs, which is, you know, in my opinion, absolutely ridiculous. But if you weren't hitting a certain goal, it would go down to 35, even 30%. And for me, that was just kind of the last straw. After they changed their policies, several trainers left. And the irony behind it is that the trainers that left were the ones that brought in the highest amount of sales every month. These were trainers that regularly brought in $7,000-8,000. So right there at that particular gym, they lost about $24,000 a month. And it was a horrible decision. It was a decision that made us feel unappreciated, and made us feel like we were being punished for a mistake that the corporation made. And it made us feel like, we're working for nothing, and it just did not motivate us to want to push harder and make more sales. So motivating people through punishment as opposed to reward just in general doesn't work very well. So I think my light bulb moment was when I was having a meeting with the manager at the time, who was a terrible manager, had no education, was incredibly immature. I don't know why they hired her, why they thought she'd be a good manager, but she was a joke of a manager. Just a joke of a personal trainer, had no business in the industry. And anyway, she was sitting with me because I wasn't training as much as I used to. I wasn't bringing in the sales that I used to. And she said, we want to help you increase your sales, to see what we can do, set up a plan, blah, 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 so we can keep you at your current 40%. And for some reason, that really bothered me when she said keep you at 40%, because a light bulb went off. And I thought to myself, for 20 years, I have been selling my services or giving my services for only 40% of what the client is paying. And I deserve a lot more than that. Every trainer deserves a lot more than that. I think on average, trainers should be getting paid 60% at least of what the sale is, as well as commission on top of that. But unfortunately, most gyms are greedy. It's all about money, and the staff certainly is not valued unless they make a lot of money and bring in a lot of sales, which to a certain degree, of course, I understand that. You need to make sales. You need to make money for the business to exist. But the way most gyms go about it is totally inefficient and wrong. And the irony is, if they went about it a different way, which I'm going to talk about, in a minute, most gyms will bring in so much more money than what they already do. So at that moment, I decided, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to work for a corporation anymore. I don't want to work for gyms anymore, because, this is just the direction that it's going. This is the direction it's been going for a long time, where personal trainers are salespeople and are no longer, the main focus is no longer to help people improve the quality of their lives. Because whenever we would have meetings, it was never about, how are your clients doing? Are there any success stories? Are your clients seeing results? Are they getting better? It was always, okay, how much sales can we bring in this month? Who's going to renew? Who do you think might buy? And that's what every meeting was all about. So it's no longer about helping people. And, I just decided that I just, I didn't want to be part of that industry anymore. So shortly after I quit my job at this gym, well, I wouldn't say that shortly after, I guess it was kind of shortly after, but about 5 or 6 months later, we ended up moving to Las Vegas. And I wasn't really sure what direction I was going to go in my career, what I was going to do. Well, I was just kind of looking around for different gyms in the area. We had already been in Vegas for a while, maybe 6 months, until I'd found this job. Well, anyway, I was just looking for gyms that were close to me because I didn't want to go to a 24-hour fitness or what have you. But I wasn't, set that I was going to apply or anything like that. But I just kind of wanted to see what was around me. Well, I found a little gym that was located in the airport, which I thought, wow, what a concept, a gym in an airport. And I saw that they were hiring. And so I contacted them, and I went in for an interview, and sure enough, I got hired. And it was a great little gym. When I met the owner of the company, I really liked her a lot. I thought she was very sincere. I thought she was very motivated, about, helping people in the industry. And so I was excited, to work at this facility, and she wanted to grow and go into other airports, with her business. And I definitely saw the potential for that. And she had a manager working there. He was very young. Believe he was 26 years old. And when I first met him, I was very impressed. I thought he was very professional. He seemed to be educated. He seemed to know his stuff. And so I was definitely excited. And there was another trainer that worked there that was absolutely amazing, very passionate. He taught classes, and he was so good at what he did. He had an amazing energy. And I just, I was very, very impressed with him more than anybody else. Well, anyway, as I started working there for a while, I started to see why the gym was not doing well, because it wasn't doing well. And the main problem was the manager that was working there. And there were some signs in the interview, because when I was talking to the owner, I had mentioned how impressed I was with the manager, and she had made a couple comments. She said, yeah, well, he can be kind of arrogant sometimes. And I said, oh, well, I certainly haven't noticed that. He seems to be, pretty amazing. And she made another comment. I forget what it was. And I thought it was kind of odd that she made those comments, but I was like, whatever. She knows him better than I do, and they have a friendship, I guess. So anyway, as I started working there, I started to see exactly what she was saying. He was very arrogant. He was lazy. Like, for example, there was a client that had come in there, and I sat in the consultation with him, and the client had back problems, and he specifically wanted to strengthen his back. And in the consultation, he never did an assessment on him. I thought, well, maybe he's going to do an assessment later. I don't know. I don't think he ever did. And then when I saw him working with him in the gym, all he was doing was putting him on Nautilus machines. Which, when you see a personal trainer putting clients strictly on Nautilus machines, that is a lazy, uneducated trainer that has no business in the industry. The easiest thing to do is to plop somebody onto a machine and just tell them, lift the weight. And it's so incredibly lazy. Now, it's different if you incorporate Nautilus machines into your routine or into your training method. Like maybe you do some stability work and then you go on a leg press, that's fine. But when it is strictly Nautilus machines, it just goes to show the integrity of that trainer. And so he was putting this client strictly on Nautilus machines, and it just infuriated me, because I thought, what laziness. And it just, it really made me so angry, because for me, when I meet a client, my initial response is to want to help them. I'm excited to work with them and help them see results. I start thinking about the different types of programs that I want to do with them, and helping them to build their neurological skills and their posture, whatever it is. And I'm excited to see for them to start seeing results, whatever their goals are. And I would have done the program that I would have done with this client would have been drastically different and so much better than what this manager was doing with this client. And I was very frustrated to see that. And then I was, doing my best to try to make sales and bring business, into the club. When people were coming in, I was asking them if they had had their assessment or what have you. And there were several times when people walked in the door and I asked them, hey, have you had your fitness assessment yet? And they were like, no. I said, oh, okay, well, let's schedule one. And then the front desk girl scheduled it with the manager. And I asked her, I said, so you don't schedule them with me, even though I was the one that initiated them signing up for the assessment? And she said, no, it goes to him first. And I thought to myself, that is the first time I have ever worked at a gym and the manager is the first one to get the clients. Usually it goes to the trainers and the manager is only training clients if they're desperate, if there's nobody else to train that client. But the client goes to the trainers first, because the trainers, we don't make an hourly salary. We don't make any money unless we're training. And managers make salaries. They have an hourly wage as well. And the manager has other responsibilities and duties that they need to focus on. And they're there to support their staff and to help their staff, build up clientele and be busy and make money and help people. So that was, very odd to me and very surprising and also very discouraging. And I thought it was a horrible way to run a business and to make it even more difficult for your staff to try to build up their clientele. And I thought, no wonder no trainers have worked here. Because to my understanding, it was the manager was the only one that had been there long term. There was no other trainers that had stayed long term, and trainers just kind of came in and out and didn't stay very long. And now I was starting to see why. Well, anyway, I started to see that the manager just was not open to any suggestions or education or anything like that. And for example, there was a time when the other trainer wasn't going to be available to teach the classes, and we were, going through. So I was gonna teach the class, for that night, and I was kind of, going through what I wanted to do for the class. And every idea I had, everything I wanted to do, the manager just kind of took over, and said, well, I think, no, well, let's do this instead. I think you should do that instead. And just did not allow me to design the class the way I wanted to. And it was very difficult because I don't like to be the type of trainer that's like, I have 20 years experience, so who are you to tell me what to do? I don't like to be that type of trainer. If I have a manager, especially a manager that's educated and knows their stuff, they could be just as educated as me if they're, keeping themselves updated on the most recent research or, what have you, if they're educating themselves or taking courses. Absolutely. I respect any manager that I work under. But in this case, I just wanted to tell him, you know what? You don't know shit. I've been doing this for 20 years and you're so ignorant and you're so arrogant. Just shut up and let me design this class because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I wanted to say that so bad, but obviously I bit my tongue. Well, anyway, I think I made him feel insecure. I think he did feel a little bit threatened by me. So, he would try to undermine, a lot of my ideas, and he would try to, make me feel inferior. Well, anyways, the last straw happened when I had made arrangements with the front desk girl to film Instagram videos that they could put on their Instagram page and on their Facebook page. Just, quick little videos, just quick little exercise tips or what have you. And when I was in the interview, I was very upfront in the beginning about my health challenges right away. I let them know that I did have limitations, that there were certain hours I might not be able to do. And the owner, like word for word, said, well, this will be the perfect job for you because you can make your own schedule. And so so I had made arrangements, with the front desk girl to film. Well, that day I was not feeling well at all, so I had texted her the night before and told her, hey, can we reschedule and do it another time? And she texted me back early that morning and said, yeah, absolutely, not a problem. Just let me know, when you'd like to do it. Well, anyway, that morning, my manager came in and noticed that I wasn't there. And he was, another thing too, he was very much a micromanager. He had to be involved in everything. He stuck his nose in everything. And it was so obnoxious, especially considering he was so ignorant and uneducated. Like, you know, you don't even have anything to contribute, so why are you sticking your nose in everything? But he was very, very, he was kind of like a bully in that way. Well, anyway, he said, well, where's Charlene? Why aren't you guys filming? And she said, oh, well, we rescheduled. So he texted me and said, you know, what happened? What happened, you know, between you and so-and-so? I thought you were going to film. And I told him, well, I'm not feeling well today, and we're going to film another day. No big deal. It wasn't a client, you know, that I was rescheduling. It was just, you know, little videos that we were going to film. And it was just between me and her. And he even said, you just, you know, you guys just work out the schedule, whatever you guys want to do. You know, he even said that himself. So when I came into work, he confronted me about it. And he said, well, you know, when I came in this morning, you know, Megan was very upset that you canceled on her. She was very upset because it screwed up her schedule. It screwed up her day, which made zero sense because we had scheduled for us to do it at the end of her shift. So it's not like she had come in early or anything to meet with me, and plus I notified her, I let her know. And he said, yeah, she was really upset about it. And, you know, I had to explain to her, I had to defend you and stick up for you and explain to her that you have health challenges, you know, but she was really upset and bothered by it. And so I told him, I said, well, this was something I was honest with you about in the very beginning, and I'll talk to her about it, you know, if she was that upset. He said, no, you know, don't worry about it. You know, I already talked to her. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I knew he was lying. I just knew he was full of shit. So a few days later, we had decided to reschedule, and she and I went ahead and filmed a video. And I told her, I said, oh, I wanted to apologize about the other day. You know, to my understanding, I guess you were really upset about it, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to inconvenience you. And she said, oh, I wasn't upset. I said, oh, really? I said, because, you know, the manager said that you were really upset about it when he came in. And she said, no, that's not what happened. He walked in, and the first thing he said is, where is Charlene? And I told him, well, we just had to reschedule, and that was it. That was all I said. And she said, but he was the one that seemed to be bothered by it. And I knew she was telling the truth. I knew she was telling the truth, and that he had lied. And I was furious about it. So I did talk to the owner about it, what he had done, and she was just, you know, just very acted so just ignorant about it. You know, she defended him and basically told me I had no place, and, you know, talking to her about this because I hadn't been there long enough. And I was like, he lied. Like, he lied to me. And he also lied to the owner about 2 incidents that had happened that actually weren't incidents at all. He lied because he wanted to make me look bad. He wanted to make me look unreliable and unprofessional, and it infuriated me. And when I spoke with her about it, you know, she totally defended him, and I thought, you know what, this is just ridiculous. You know, I am so sick and tired of dealing with really stupid, ignorant, weak owners and managers, people that really don't give a shit about helping people reach their goals. It's all about money. Or they hire people that are really stupid, really uneducated, and they just tolerate it for whatever reason. So I decided, you know what, I'm done. You know, this is the last time I'm going to work in any facility ever again. And so I quit. And you know, that was that for that job. The reason that I wanted to do this video is because I just wanted to express my frustration with the fitness industry as a whole. It's really shameful to me that it has now just become a money-making industry. Pretty much any club or facility that you work for is basically going to be very sales based, very sales focused. There won't be any education involved. The manager will basically be somebody who holds you accountable for sales. It won't be somebody who's educated, that can help you be a better trainer, that can help give your clients a better service. It won't be somebody that, you know, if you have a client that has a special condition and you need help and advice, it won't be somebody that can help you with something like that. That's just not, that doesn't exist. In the beginning, you know, of my career, it was more like that, but it's not like that anymore. There might be clubs that are still that way, but I guarantee you they are few and far in between. It just doesn't exist anymore. And it's really shameful to me that that is the state of the fitness industry now. And the irony of it is that when you have a staff that is passionate about what they're doing, that is educated, that is trained properly on how to work with clients, on how to assess clients and evaluate them, you will have a staff that is going to make incredible sales. When I was working at the first club I ever worked at, we never, ever talked about numbers in our meetings. We talked about education, because what we would do is, because going to seminars and continuing education can be expensive. And so we would take turns going to seminars, and then we would have a meeting and we would teach the techniques and a lot of the education or the science, what have you, that we had learned in that seminar. We would teach it to the rest of the staff. And it was absolutely amazing. And we were all just so passionate and excited to be there. And we loved what we did. And we were all on the same page in terms of the type of service that we wanted to provide for our clients, the type of impact that we wanted to make on their lives. And because people, number one, the members of the gym saw the incredible service that we gave to our clients, and number two, saw that they were getting results, they wanted to sign up. We didn't have to pressure anybody. We didn't have to push any sales. Never did we have to do that. The sales just came. And it was crazy. It was crazy how busy we were. We were incredibly busy at this gym. And it was just because the members were so impressed with how educated we were and how passionate we were and how much our clients were really enjoying the service and getting amazing results. They were so impressed with it, and they wanted a part of that too. And that's the irony behind the way a lot of gyms are run now, is that when they put the focus on sales, it's going to be harder to make sales. If you put the focus on giving a great service and education, making sure that your staff is well versed in physiology and kinesiology and biomechanics and what have you, you know, or they have the passion and desire to learn and become better, you're going to have a staff that's just naturally going to bring in sales. People will just see again how amazing the staff is. And they'll want a piece of that. They don't want to have the same experience as their clients are having. And a lot of gyms, they're so ignorant that, I mean, to me, that's common sense. But to most gyms, they don't see it that way. And then they struggle to make sales, and they have to pressure their trainers to make sales. When trainers don't get into the fitness industry to become salespeople, they get into the industry because they want to help people. And they want to do it, you know, to the best ability that they can. And when you start pressuring them to make sales, you know, it's disheartening, you know, and it kind of takes away their passion and their reasoning, you know, for why they want to do what they do. And I always say that you can teach somebody biomechanics and physiology, nutrition, you know, whatever, but you can't teach somebody passion. You can't teach somebody empathy and compassion for their clients. You can't teach them that. That's something that is going to be natural for that person. That's something that when a personal trainer gets into the industry, that needs to be their main motivation, is to want to help people and improve the quality of people's lives. That has to be their main motivation. And you can't teach that. Everything else can be taught. I will take a young trainer that knows absolutely nothing, but if they have the right heart, if they have the right motivation for why they're there, I can make them into an amazing trainer. And a lot of gyms will reward trainers that are horrible trainers because they're very good at making sales. And trainers that are phenomenal trainers, they'll just kind of, push to the side because they might not be that good at closing a sale, because for some people that really is a challenge, closing the sale, especially when they have that pressure on them from management that you got to make this much money every month, if you want to work here. And so again, it just kind of ultimately ends up working against them. And that's why a lot of times you'll see trainers at gyms that you just don't understand why they're there. And you're wondering how they were able to get that type of job as a personal trainer. Either because it's clear they don't know what they're doing, or maybe they're out of shape, like it's not evident that they exercise themselves. And that is probably one of my biggest pet peeves, is personal trainers that are out of shape. And, I'm not saying every personal trainer needs to look like a fitness model, of course not. Everybody has, different body types, and we'll see different results, from certain exercise programs, what have you. The gym that I used to work at in LA, the all women gym, the women that worked there, they certainly weren't, fitness models that were size 2 or whatever, but you could tell that they took care of themselves. You could tell that they were strong. They were in good shape by the way they carried themselves, by the way that they trained their clients, the fact that they worked out themselves, at the gym. It was evident that that fitness was a part of their life. And nowadays, sometimes you'll see trainers that are obese themselves, or just really sloppy looking, and with horrible posture, or they're lazy in how they're working with their client, or they're looking around the gym, while their client's doing their exercise, when they should be focused on their client, spotting them and educating them, and making sure that, their posture is in the right position, that their shoulders, their, everything. And when you're working with a client, your eyes should never leave your client. Your attention should never leave your client. And nowadays there are so many trainers that just go in with just this, really, what's the word? I guess, like lackadaisical, or I think that's the word, attitude, or what have you. But you know what I'm saying? Just a really lazy attitude. And certainly there are still trainers in the industry that are amazing trainers, that are passionate, that are educated, but you see it less and less now. The industry is now saturated with people that just kind of got into it. Well, I like to work out, and so I guess I can help someone else work out. And your reasoning for being a trainer has to go way beyond that if you want to do a great job and provide a great service. And another thing that is ruining the industry is YouTube fitness, Instagram fitness, just these people that Photoshop, their images, that all they do is sell products and supplements. That's their only motivation. They know nothing about fitness. So many YouTube channels, like a perfect example is Brittany Dawn Fitness. This girl is a joke. I mean, she's absolutely just a despicable, she's a despicable person, but just a despicable trainer. She's an embarrassment to the industry. She's so uneducated. She's so ignorant. And obviously, for any of you that heard of the scandal that happened last year when she scammed, hundreds of people out of their money and never provided, and then never refunded the money, and had some, bullshit reasons why. Anyway, she's a horrible person, but she has over 300,000 subscribers, and she's so ignorant, and she's so ridiculous, and she knows zero about physiology, about anatomy, about just anything. She knows zero, and people follow her. And it's just, it's astonishing to me. Like, I don't, I think the one channel that does kind of give me hope is Athlean X, because it is such an amazing channel. And Jeff really does such a great job providing education, and he's very passionate about what he does. And I think he's probably the biggest fitness channel on YouTube. So that is, does give me some comfort. It is kind of encouraging. But he's also old school. He came from the same generation of trainers that I did. I think we're the same age, because I'm going to be 45 next month. I think he's exactly the same age as me. So we came from kind of a different generation before any social media existed. And, your motivation for doing things was different. But anyway, I feel like the fitness industry is kind of in a sad state. And it's really a shame. It's really a shame. And, for me personally, I definitely want to be able to put more time and focus onto my YouTube channel. Hopefully my health will permit that, and I'll be feeling well enough on a regular basis, to upload videos to help you guys and educate you guys. And get a lot of the information that you're not going to get from a lot of personal trainers at commercial gyms or what have you. Information you're not going to get from people like Brittany Dawn Fitness or a lot of these others, fitness influencers, which is such a ridiculous name. It's such a stupid title. It's like a useless title. It makes me think about, I remember when I used to watch infomercials, and when they would, how they always have like a host, that's there like with the person that has the invention, whatever. And they used to call them a TV personality. And I thought that was such a ridiculous title because it meant nothing. This is basically somebody who hasn't really accomplished anything in their industry, but they were a TV personality. Well, that's how I see the word fitness influencer. It means nothing. It's a ridiculous title. And it's basically just someone that posts a lot of pictures of their ass on Instagram or sells supplements or, or whatever. It's a title that means nothing. It means zero. And so I feel like, that's one reason I'm so passionate about, growing my channel, and one reason I started this channel, so it could be a resource for people to get education on here. And I'm not the smartest trainer. I'm not the most educated person. There's more that I have to learn. There's information I also have to update myself on. But the point is that I understand that as a trainer, you never stop learning. You never stop growing. The moment that you think you know everything, the moment you think that you can't be taught, is when you need to get out of the industry. Even someone, as brilliant as Jeff Cavalier understands that he needs to constantly be updating himself and educating himself and learning, from other people, what have you. Otherwise, his channel would not be what it is. And that's the type of attitude that a personal trainer needs to have. So I know I need to grow. I'll always be growing as long as I continue in this industry, as far as the direction I'm going now with my YouTube channel. But as long as I'm going to make that the focus of my channel, I need to constantly be educating myself and, trying to be the best trainer that I can be. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys, why I left the fitness industry, why I'll never go back, and just how I feel about the fitness industry as a whole. Let me know, what do you guys think, of the fitness industry? What do you guys think about where it's at? Whether you're a personal trainer, whether you're a gym member, that observes other personal trainers. A really, really great ebook that you should check out is an ebook that I wrote, How to Know If You're Hiring a Good Trainer. And it's the link is in the description below. So I would definitely recommend checking that out if you are thinking of hiring a personal trainer. Check out that ebook, and I would read that first. It's like $3 on Amazon, but I think it'll really help you, to be prepared before you hire a personal trainer. But yeah, you check out all my ebooks that are down there, and my book. You Look Just Fine to Me, which is also available in a hardback copy. But certainly check all of them out, because my book, my larger book, is designed to help people with chronic illness. Just to literally on the cover it says it's a practical guide on how to help those suffering from chronic physical and emotional illness, so they can live a better quality of life. And that's exactly what the book is. So definitely check those out. But yeah, I definitely want to know your thoughts and see what you guys think. And if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe to the channel. You know, I'm trying to grow my channel to reach 1,000. And I do, again, I'm trying to, you know, get back on a regular uploading schedule for you guys, you know, so I can be providing regular content for you again. So, well, if you made it this far, thank you so much for your time and attention. As always, I appreciate it. Remember, take care of yourself, protect yourself physically and emotionally, and don't forget, your health is your most valuable asset. Invest in it. Bye-bye.